now. Dumb shit.
We'll be on the news tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're 100% going to be on the news tomorrow. Not a doubt in my mind.
Hours of newly released footage paints an image of what some say was racial profiling on full display.
You may remember last May when nearly 200 people were arrested as part of a joint operation in Middle Tennessee between THP and ICE.
News Channel 5 investigates reporter Levi Ismail is joining us now. Levi, immigration attorneys have told you they believe race and ethnicity were the driving forces behind these arrests.
Yes, Carrie. You know, between myself and others who reviewed the hours of footage, we found that the questions in each traffic stop varied drastically depending on who was in the car. It's the weekend of May 3rd, 2025, and you've just been pulled over by Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Not a big deal, but your headlight's out. I don't know if you know or not.
I did not know. Which one?
Only thing is, these troopers are not alone.
Who do you work for? I don't understand why y'all here, because this is a traffic stop.
We've been led to believe that all traffic stops are supposed to be created equal no matter who's behind the wheel.
Another Egyptian?
Yeah, he's here from Egypt, been here, he said, about a year and a half.
But what we saw in more than 50 hours of newly released footage from this joint THP and ICE operation...
Either you're going to get out of the car one way or the other.
This is another traffic stop here. Has immigration attorney Alan King almost in disbelief.
We are no longer saying, innocent until proven guilty.
So she has a social, but we don't know if she has any status.
We're saying guilty until proven innocent.
We're going to have to come in and get you, okay? We don't want to do that.
Seems to me that the people that they're assuming to be guilty all look a certain way, and the people who are getting the benefit of the doubt don't share those characteristics.
Evening, folks.
My brake light.
Yes, ma'am.
I have an appointment for it to get fixed.
We watched nearly 200 videos in collaboration with the nonprofit Lighthouse Reports and a team of other journalists where we found moments just like these. The driver appeared to be white, and even though it's tough to tell the passenger's race, we know someone's in that seat.
All right, man. You are good to go.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
This trooper never bothered to ask the passenger for an ID, which might seem obvious to you, but on that same night,
Y'all got IDs?
Oh, yes.
we watched as troopers grilled certain minorities about where they were from.
Where are you from, man? From where? Were you born here?
You are? You were born here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before turning their attention to the passengers.
What about you, ma'am? Do you have any ID card, driver's license? Nothing like that?
Does he have one? And do you have one? An ID? What's your social?
Those who refused, were silent, didn't have an ID, or had ID from another country
Nicaragua ID.
were almost always taken away in handcuffs.
Yeah, reasonable suspicion. He's not answering my questions.
Now, just so we're clear, only the driver is obligated to present an ID in a traffic stop, unless there's reason to believe the passenger may have committed a crime. Over and over, we saw ICE and THP use these stops as an opportunity to challenge everyone in the car over their immigration status.
He's good. Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I thought we were going to have another one. How did too?
Even though we heard some troopers admit passengers are often not required to hand over anything.
And I mean, I could just ask and he'd give it to me, but he says no. He's no passengers required.
A lot of community members have seen footage, right, of individuals in cars being dragged out of them.
Out of the car now. Dumb shit.
They don't want that to happen to them, and so in the moment, it might be easier to just comply rather than face possible injury.
This trooper stopped a driver for having a headlight out. He runs a background check and finds nothing.
You're good to go.
But then we see ICE detain this man without any explanation. The same trooper then appears to turn off the audio on his body camera. So we have no idea what's being said between him and agents over the last 3 minutes.
I think that's going to be... All right, we need to be at this point.
We noticed the same thing on several other videos, including this one, where the trooper silenced 12 minutes of conversation during a search, only to admit he wasn't clear on the policy behind doing so.
I need to read the policy more.
It's not clear what troopers were trying to keep us from hearing, because what we did hear was concerning enough.
It might be wet. When we say wet, it just means illegal. I think it comes up from being like crossing. Yeah. Crossing the river or whatever.
What's the count right now?
It's a lot versus almost nothing.
Yeah, we only got 4, so. Is there any way that you could tell someone to come pick it up for him or no?
No, we're not letting them know that they're in immigration custody at all.
We're not letting them know that they're in immigration custody at all.
We'll be on the news tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're 100% going to be on the news tomorrow. No doubt in my mind.
Shame on you!
We were there as Nashville woke up the next morning to find that several people were taken to this nearby ICE facility.
We have family members out here that are looking for people that are possibly detained, and they're refusing to give any sort of information.
Yali Malero showed up with papers in hand searching for her husband, Login Romero, who was on his way home after working a late shift the night before. The same husband we found in this body camera footage where ICE agents questioned his legal status and even his tattoos before detaining him.
I think he's Nicaragua.
When this agent began explaining why they thought Romero was part of the dangerous Venezuelan gang, this trooper muted the audio
Nicaragua, have you heard about that?
and left it that way for the remaining 36 minutes of this video. The next day, Malero shared her husband's asylum documents with News Channel 5's Patsy Montesinos and explained that the man she loves is far from a problem and has been trying to gain asylum the right way.
Yali says he's not a criminal. And it hurts that immigrants are being stereotyped.
Romero was later deported to Venezuela, and soon Malero joined him in the same country they once fled after fearing for their lives. The Department of Homeland Security said they detained 196 people as part of this joint operation, 95 of which they said had prior convictions.
He overstayed, has a little bit of criminal history.
New data uncovered by Lighthouse Reports found that of the record number of people recently detained by ICE, those arrested in Tennessee without a criminal record grew from 42% to 66% so far in President Donald Trump's second term, meaning the majority of those detained in Tennessee had never been charged with a crime. Still, DHS wasted little time.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Reminding everyone that this operation was about detaining criminals.
Now, all of these criminals are evil. They're horrible human beings. They're the worst of the worst.
But the reality is more than half of those detained had no criminal record.
Super nice guy. It's like comical how nice he is. You know?
And in some cases, those who were detained carried proof that they were trying to do things the right way.
ASC appointment notice. Application for asylum.
As for the hazardous traffic violations THP used to justify these stops.
And also, what's up with this temp tag back here?
I stopped you. You had your high beams on.
Because your tag lights aren't working.
Troopers questioned and surrounded drivers they suspected of being foreigners over things like driving with high beams on or a broken headlight.
Where are you from?
I'm Kurdish.
Kurdish?
Yes.
Okay. I saw the language, or heard the language.
I'm just a little nervous because
That's all right.
I've never been pulled over before.
Yeah.
Same broken headlight, different driver.
Okay, hey, just stay in the truck. But listen, man, I'm just going to give you a warning, okay?
These are the same troopers who said that these stops were about public safety.
The reason for the stop, your speed, 67 and a 40.
64 and a 40.
Speed limit's 40. I got you at 58. Okay?
Giving out warnings for drivers who were well over the speed limit but spoke English clearly.
All right, man, get home safe. Please watch the speed, okay?
Yeah, I believe that race is playing a factor, and I think the issue right now is that it's unclear whether our legal system allows it.
The U.S. Supreme Court recently ruled that immigration officers can briefly detain someone and compel them to prove legal status if they suspect they're in the country illegally. Ethnicity alone can't justify the stop, but the majority of justices agreed that when added with other factors like whether someone can speak English, this should be enough probable cause to warrant a stop.
I think one of the difficulties with giving legal advice for people in cars is that it's a situation where people's constitutional rights are the most vague.
King and the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition are calling for more transparency, not just for the names of all those arrested, but over the tactics used while making these arrests.
Here we are, in 2026, there are still people who were detained in this operation that, no information was released.
King tells clients to memorize contact information of someone they trust and carry documentation as often as possible. Because no matter if all these traffic stops are supposed to be equal, he says you can't leave to chance what we've been led to believe.
What about you, ma'am? Do you have any ID card, driver's license? Nothing like that?
I think that these are really dark times and that a lot of people justifiably are afraid.
Now, we sent a series of questions to THP and ICE about the operation. ICE told us that this operation specifically focused on individuals who threatened public safety or national security. They also said ICE does not operate under quotas. THP sent us a statement reading in part that the Tennessee Highway Patrol conducts lawful traffic stops based on observed violations of Tennessee law and does not engage in enforcement based on race, ethnicity, language, or national origin. This is, of course, a developing story, so we'll be sure to bring you answers as we learn more. With News Channel 5 Investigates, I'm Levi Ismail.